Ever catch yourself staring at your phone at midnight, replaying every word from that conversation earlier? You're searching for the exact moment it shifted. The precise second when her energy changed. You followed the script perfectly. Said the right things. Showed genuine interest. Demonstrated everything she claimed to value in a partner. And somehow she's already drifting away. Here's what's messing with your head. There's this invisible chasm between what comes out of someone's mouth and what actually makes their pulse quicken. Women navigate this gap every single day. Not because they're running some elaborate con, but because most of the time they're just as confused by it as you are. She'll look you straight in the eye and tell you honesty matters most. Then you open up too much and suddenly she's got one foot out the door. She'll swear loyalty is everything. Then you become too dependable, too present, and watch her attention wander toward someone who barely texts back. She'll claim she's done with players and games. Yet the guy keeping her guessing? He's the one she can't stop thinking about. You start questioning your sanity after enough of these experiences. This isn't some conspiracy theory about women being master manipulators with hidden agendas. That's the easy, lazy explanation. The reality cuts much deeper and makes a hell of a lot more sense once you see it. Women process relationships through pure emotion first, logic second. Sometimes logic doesn't even get a seat at the table. So when she's telling you what she wants, she genuinely means it in that moment. Those words reflect what she believes she should want. What sounds mature and healthy and relationship ready. But attraction? Attraction doesn't give a damn about should. She might truly believe she wants the guy who checks in constantly. Who makes her the center of his universe. Who's always available, always reassuring, always there. Then she actually gets that guy. And something weird starts happening. The spark fades. The butterflies disappear. That electric feeling when his name pops up on her screen? Gone. Replaced by something that feels uncomfortably close to suffocated. The exact behavior she swore she wanted now make her skin crawl. Not because she lied to you, but because emotional attraction and logical preference are speaking completely different languages. Most men get blindsided by this because we're wired to take words literally. She says sensitive men are attractive, so you open up more emotionally. She says she hates arrogance, so you become humble and accommodating. She says she wants to be someone's priority, so you rearrange your entire life around her schedule. For a minute, everything seems fine. Perfect even. Then the temperature drops. Her texts get shorter. Her enthusiasm dims. Her excuses multiply. And you're left wondering what the hell happened. Because you did everything right. You followed her exact instructions. You became precisely what she said she wanted. That's when the dangerous question creeps in. Did she lie? Was any of it real? Can you trust anything women say about what they want? I just want a nice guy. 5 words that have launched a million frustrations. You hear it everywhere. Dating profiles. Girls' nights. Tearful conversations after another bad breakup. So you take notes. You become that guy. You remember her coffee order. You show up when you say you will. You listen when she vents about her day. You're patient, understanding, emotionally available. You treat her exactly how she deserves to be treated. And nothing happens. Actually, something worse than nothing happens. The slow disappearing act begins. Replies that used to come instantly now take hours. Plans that used to excite her now get rescheduled. That spark in her eyes when she saw you? Replaced by something flat. Something polite. Then comes the sentence that burns more than any rejection. You're such a good friend. Here's the brutal reality nobody wants to admit out loud. Niceness alone creates zero attraction. Being kind and respectful? Absolutely essential for keeping a relationship alive long term. But for igniting one? Practically useless. Early attraction feeds on completely different fuel. It thrives on tension. On wondering. On not quite knowing where you stand. That uncertainty she claims to hate? It's actually keeping her interested. When you become completely transparent, you rob her of something crucial. The mystery evaporates. All her questions get answered before she finishes asking them. Your patterns become predictable down to the minute. Morning text at 8. Goodnight message at 11. Weekend plans confirmed by Wednesday. Compliments delivered on schedule like clockwork. Sounds like solid relationship material, right? Except you're not in a relationship yet. You're still trying to create attraction. And predictability murders attraction in its sleep. Think about the guy who takes forever to respond. He's not playing mind games. He's genuinely busy building something meaningful with his time. The one who doesn't shower her with praise? He's not being cold. His attention actually means something because he doesn't hand it out freely. These men aren't following some manipulation playbook. They simply have lives that extend beyond seeking her approval. Their world doesn't pause when her name appears on their screen. That creates something you cannot fake. Space for her imagination to work. Room for her to wonder what he's doing. Why he's different. Whether she's actually got his attention or not. You've been taught that effort equals results. Work hard, get rewarded. Give more, receive more. Apply yourself, achieve success. Dating throws that equation straight out the window. Sometimes maximum effort produces minimum results. And the guy putting in what looks like minimal effort? He's drowning in attention. Not because life is unfair, but because effort aimed at winning approval signals something unattractive at its core. It broadcasts that you don't believe your natural presence is enough. Watch what she does, not what she says. Sounds cynical as hell when you first hear it. Like something a bitter ex would mutter into his beer at midnight. Then you live through enough situations where the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. She tells you vulnerability is sexy. So you share something real. Something that matters. And suddenly there's this distance that wasn't there before. Like you crossed an invisible line you didn't know existed. She claims consistency makes her feel secure. So you become reliable. Steady. The rock she said she always wanted. And somehow that rock becomes boring. Invisible. Taken for granted. She insists confidence without arrogance is the sweet spot. But the guy who's borderline cocky about his worth? He's got her responding to texts at 2 in the morning while you're still waiting 3 hours for a reply. This isn't about catching her in lies. It's watching the eternal war between what she's been taught to value and what actually makes her feel something. Society loaded her up with programming from day one. Stability equals maturity. Emotional availability equals growth. Predictability equals safety. These make perfect sense for building a lasting partnership. So when someone asks what she's looking for, she recites this list of socially acceptable traits. And she means every single word. These are the qualities a smart woman should want. The ones that lead to healthy, functional relationships. But attraction doesn't consult the Smart Relationship Handbook. It runs on completely different operating systems. Ancient wiring that responds to signals we barely understand ourselves. Confidence that doesn't need validation. Independence that doesn't revolve around her schedule. Emotional strength that doesn't crumble under pressure. And yes, enough unpredictability to keep things interesting. Most men hear the words and take them as gospel. She says she wants X, you become X. Then she chooses Y instead, and you're left feeling like you studied the wrong material for the test. Start paying attention to the subtle stuff. Notice how her energy shifts around different types of men. Watch how she responds to the guy who gently pushes back on her opinions versus the one who nods along with everything. See how her eyes light up talking about the man she can't quite read yet. Compare that to how she discusses the guy whose every move she can predict 3 days in advance. The difference is striking once you know what to look for. Trying to become her stated ideal often backfires completely. You morph into this carefully constructed version of what you think she wants. And in doing so, you sand off all the edges that made you interesting in the first place. She didn't fall for the checklist. Nobody does. People fall for the unexpected parts. The contradictions. The pieces that don't fit neatly into categories. Most people walk around thinking they've got themselves figured out. They'll tell you exactly what they want, what they value, what makes them tick. They're wrong about half of it. She genuinely believes stability is her top priority. She can explain in detail why the dependable partner makes the most sense. Why drama is exhausting. Why she's done with emotional roller coasters. Every word rings true when she says it. Then someone walks into her life bringing chaos wrapped in charisma. Emotional intensity that shouldn't be attractive but somehow is. Unpredictability that logic says to avoid but feelings say to chase. And suddenly everything she thought she knew about herself gets questioned. This doesn't mean she secretly craves disaster long term. It just means her emotional responses don't always align with her intellectual conclusions. The part of her brain making logical decisions isn't the same part generating attraction. That creates confusion radiating in every direction. She's confused because her body is responding to someone her mind knows is wrong. You're confused because nothing she's doing matches anything she said. Round and round it goes. Attraction operates in layers most people never examine closely. Surface level, she wants kindness and security. Makes perfect sense. One layer down, she responds to confidence and mystery. Still tracking. But dive deeper and you hit primal instincts shaped by evolutionary pressures that have nothing to do with modern dating. Her ancestors survived by choosing mates who could handle uncertainty, who displayed strength under pressure, who stood out from the crowd rather than blending into it. Those instincts didn't disappear just because we invented dating apps and relationship therapy. None of this means you should manufacture drama or play psychological games. That completely misses the point and makes things worse. The actual lesson is straightforward. When you build a life that genuinely fulfills you independent of anyone else, you naturally stop being predictable in all the right ways. You've got goals that don't pause when someone attractive enters the picture. Interests that pull your attention in multiple directions. Priorities that sometimes conflict with being constantly available. That's not game playing. That's having an actual life. And having an actual life creates a fundamentally different presence than someone arranging their entire existence around getting approval. She can feel the difference even if she can't articulate it. The guy who needs her validation to feel whole gives off a specific energy. Eager, accommodating, flexible to the point of shapeless. Compare that to someone who's genuinely content with or without her attention, who invites her into an already meaningful existence rather than treating her like the missing piece that completes him. One feels like pressure. The other feels like possibility. Women respond to that distinction at a level below conscious thought. It triggers something that logical checklists never touch. There's this specific moment that hits differently for every guy. No fireworks. No dramatic revelation. Just a quiet shift in perspective that changes everything that comes after. You suddenly realize you've been playing a game with imaginary rules. That every attempt to win someone over actually pushed them further away. That all those efforts to prove your worth communicated exactly the opposite message. The realization stings at first. Art. You think about all those nights crafting the perfect text. All the times you rearranged your schedule to accommodate hers. All those conversations where you carefully edited yourself to say what seemed right instead of what felt true. The energy you poured into becoming what you thought she wanted. The personality adjustments. The interests you pretended to care about. The opinions you softened to avoid conflict. And for what? To watch her drift toward someone who did none of that. This is where some guys get bitter. They decide the whole thing is rigged. That women don't know what they want. That nice guys finish last and jerks win every time. But if you push through that initial sting, something powerful emerges on the other side. You stop chasing. Not because you've given up on connection, but because you finally understand that attraction cannot be negotiated. It's not a transaction where good behavior earns romantic interest. You can't logic someone into wanting you. Can't convince them with enough effort. Can't prove your case through accumulated nice gestures. So you redirect all that energy inward. Toward your own goals. Your own growth. Your own interests that matter regardless of who's watching. Not in some selfish, closed-off way, but in a grounded way that fundamentally shifts how you move through the world. You start building a life that feels complete whether someone else is in it or not. Your happiness stops being hostage to who texts back. Your self-worth stops fluctuating based on who shows interest. And the weirdest thing happens. The less you chase approval, the more naturally it appears. The less you try to impress, the more impressive you become. The more comfortable you get with potential rejection, the less often you face it. This isn't magic or some pickup artist trick. It's basic human psychology playing out in real time. Desperation has a smell. People detect it instantly even if they can't name what feels off. It seeps through every interaction no matter how well you think you're hiding it. But genuine confidence? The kind that comes from knowing your value isn't determined by who chooses you. That radiates just as clearly. You stop checking your phone every 30 seconds. Stop analyzing every interaction for hidden meanings. Stop contorting yourself into shapes you think someone else wants to see. You just exist as yourself. Fully. Unapologetically. Listen to how someone describes their ex 6 months after the breakup. Then compare it to how they talked about that same person while things were good. It's like they're discussing two completely different humans. That connection that felt deep and meaningful? Now it's reduced to a bullet list of character flaws. All the beautiful moments vanish from the story. The laughter, the inside jokes, the nights that felt perfect. Gone. Erased from the official record. What remains gets amplified until it's unrecognizable. Small annoyances become major incompatibilities. Normal disagreements transform into red flags that were there all along. Quirks that used to be endearing now serve as evidence the relationship was doomed from the start. Sometimes this rewriting happens deliberately. A conscious choice to villainize someone to justify leaving. More often though, it's unconscious. A psychological defense mechanism kicking in automatically. Because admitting you lost something valuable cuts deeper than convincing yourself it was never that good anyway. She needs to believe leaving was the right choice. That staying would have been the mistake. So her mind reconstructs the past until the narrative supports that conclusion. You become the guy who was never quite right. Who couldn't meet her needs. Who lacked something essential she deserves. Never mind that 3 months ago you were perfect. That she told her friends she'd never felt this way before. That she talked about future plans like they were certainties. For guys who've watched this pattern repeat multiple times, it builds a particular type of awareness. You start recognizing the signs when someone's rewriting history in real time. The way she suddenly remembers things that never happened. How your best qualities get reframed as weaknesses. The slow transformation of "you're amazing" into "you were never what I needed." This awareness doesn't have to poison you. Doesn't have to make you cynical about all future connections. It can make you wiser instead. You stop accepting every explanation at face value. Stop assuming that her reasons for leaving reflect objective truth about your inadequacies. You understand that people's stated reasons often mask deeper issues they haven't processed themselves. Maybe her feelings shifted for reasons she can't articulate. Maybe she met someone else and needs to justify the transition. Maybe she's running from intimacy and blaming you feels safer than examining that pattern. Whatever the real reason, it usually has less to do with your specific failures than with her emotional state, her timing, her unresolved baggage. That perspective liberates you from carrying unnecessary weight. Rejection stops feeling like a verdict on your fundamental worth. Starts looking more like what it actually is. A mismatch of timing, of emotional availability, of life circumstances pulling in different directions. Sometimes two people simply reach the point where their paths no longer align. And no amount of effort from one person alone can force that alignment back into existence. Here's the paradox that eventually smacks every guy in the face. The moment you stop needing a relationship is precisely when you become most attractive for one. Sounds backwards. Feels backwards. But watch it play out enough times and the pattern becomes undeniable. When your entire happiness hinges on someone choosing you, that desperation bleeds into everything. You can't hide it no matter how smooth you think you're being. You respond to texts too fast. Like you were sitting there waiting. Because you were. You agree too easily with opinions you don't actually share. You sacrifice boundaries you know you should keep. You become flexible to the point of having no shape at all. Every interaction screams the same message without you saying a word. I don't believe I'm enough on my own. She hears it. Feels it. Even if she can't put her finger on exactly what feels off. But flip the script entirely. Build a life that genuinely satisfies you first. Not as some strategy. Not as a way to seem more attractive. As an actual state of being. Everything shifts when you're no longer trying to fill a void with someone else's attention. You're not desperately seeking a missing piece to complete you. You're simply open to sharing an already fulfilling existence with someone compatible enough to enhance it. That energy difference is impossible to fake. Women pick up on it immediately. Conversations stop feeling like high-stakes job interviews. You quit analyzing every sentence before hitting send. Stop wondering if you said the right thing or should have phrased it differently. You make decisions based on what you actually want instead of what might impress her. Plans that work for your schedule instead of bending around hers completely. This isn't about playing hard to get or manufacturing scarcity. It's about genuinely having priorities beyond winning someone's approval. And that authenticity creates more attraction than any carefully rehearsed performance ever could. She notices when you're comfortable in your own skin. When you're not constantly monitoring her reactions for signs of approval or disapproval. When you don't need reassurance every few hours that she's still interested. That grounded presence stands out sharply in a dating world where everyone's performing. Where people present carefully curated versions of themselves designed to maximize appeal. The guy who doesn't need validation but genuinely welcomes connection? That's rare enough to be valuable. You stop being another option she's evaluating against her mental checklist. You become the person who makes her question whether her checklist even matters. Because you're not trying to qualify for her standards. You're living your life and she either fits into it naturally or she doesn't. That frame flip changes everything. Suddenly you're not auditioning for a role in her story. You're the main character in your own story, and she's deciding if she wants a part in it. So where does all this leave you standing? Right at a crossroads with two very different paths ahead. You can keep believing relationships are about cracking secret codes. That somewhere out there exists the perfect formula. The right words at the right time. The exact balance of interest and distance that unlocks attraction like a combination lock. You can keep analyzing every text she sends. Replaying conversations in your head looking for the moment things shifted. Asking friends to decode what she meant by using 3 exclamation points instead of 2. You can keep molding yourself into different shapes. Testing new personalities like trying on clothes. Wondering which version of you will finally be good enough to make someone stay. Or you can choose something completely different. You can decide your worth isn't up for debate based on who swipes right. That rejection is just data about compatibility, not a judgment on your value as a human. That the right person will see your qualities without you needing to highlight them with a marker. This doesn't mean building walls or shutting down emotionally. Doesn't mean pretending you don't care when you do. It means caring without disappearing into the process. Being willing to invest in something real while knowing when to walk away from something that isn't. It means having enough self-respect to recognize when a situation doesn't serve you. Not from bitterness or anger. From clarity about what you deserve. The truth about what women really want isn't nearly as complicated as the internet makes it sound. Strip away all the contradictions and confusing signals and you find something pretty straightforward. Most people, regardless of gender, respond to the same core qualities. Confidence that doesn't tip into arrogance. Independence that doesn't become coldness. Strength that doesn't turn rigid. They want someone with their own life. Their own purpose. Their own identity that exists separately from the relationship. Someone who invites them into an already meaningful existence instead of treating them like the missing ingredient that finally makes life worth living. When you become that person, and this part matters, not as a tactic but as your genuine reality, everything transforms. You stop feeling like you're constantly selling yourself. Stop walking on eggshells worried one wrong move destroys everything. Stop contorting into whatever shape you think she wants to see. Instead, you're just discovering whether two people's lives align well enough to walk together for a while. Some will. Some won't. And both outcomes become acceptable. Because your value doesn't rise and fall with someone else's emotional weather patterns. That's the real secret hiding underneath all the advice and strategies. The moment you stop searching for validation in someone else's eyes and find it in your own reflection, everything changes. Not because you've mastered manipulation, but because you finally understand what most people spend their whole lives missing. The most magnetic thing you can possibly be is completely comfortable being yourself. Subscribe if you're done playing by rules that were designed to keep you confused. More truth drops coming that most people aren't ready to hear.